Hello everyone! Have you ever seen a flowing river that turns on and off like a faucet? Like a kid playing with the flow of the river hundreds of times a day? Or would you believe us if we say you can compose a complete beat with pineapples and eggplants? Sounds like something from a fairy tale, right? Well, you're about to be surprised as we show you 27 things you haven't seen before. Before we get started, be sure to click the subscribe button and click the notification bell for more amazing content. Done that? Right, let's get going. We've always known about the existence of great cooperation between ants. Recent experiments carried out by American scientists have proven that the level of cooperation is greater than what we've always known. Did you know ants are also liquid? In the experiments, researchers squeezed groups of insects between 2 cups and were surprised to find out that they immediately regained their original shape, like some kind of elastic solid. And another experiment shows ants can flow around a coin like liquid and also move it from point A to point B while moving around it. This discovery will hopefully help scientists study and use it in the production of self-healing materials. If you've been to a flowing river before, you'd be quick to notice it's always flowing 24/7 non-stop, except in drought when the water level drops drastically. However, there are some rivers that surprisingly basically run like tap water that a kid is toying with. It runs, stops and runs again hundreds of times per day. The largest of these kinds of intermittent springs is located near Afton, Wyoming, and this spring stops and starts every 15 to 18 minutes. The only time of the year this phenomenon doesn't happen is during spring, when the snow melts in the region, bringing the water level high. This might be traumatic for you if you had a problem jumping with a single rope during your childhood. You know, you had an issue with just one, and here's a kid jumping with over dozens of them at the same time, like it's nothing. We've always known that smart work is better than hard work. However, these guys right here have blown our minds. Working as a loader requires a lot of effort and energy, but this invention will cut that hassle in half. You can even use it to transport from one vehicle to another. Brilliant. Pause this video and guess what kind of bird this is. There's a high chance you'd never think it's an actual peacock. That's because we've come to know peacocks as colourful birds who like flaunting their colourful feathers to attract the opposite sex. A peacock with only pure white feathers is highly unexpected. This isn't the result of video editing skills though, it's a real peacock, and the whiteness of its feathers is a result of mutation. These days it's almost impossible to think of going out with your infant without a stroller. When you go shopping for one, you'd probably look at the design, features and maybe read the other information written on the labels or packaging. However, for obvious reasons, no one is asking the infant if they're comfortable in it. To solve this, one American company made an exact prototype of the infant stroller for adults, so the parents of infants can check the comfortability themselves before purchasing one for their kids. That's thoughtful. Every day, nature and man-made objects come together to form some mesmerizing effect beyond imagination, and the person who recorded this video just happened to find one of them. He may just have discovered a new kind of ASMR. At first glance, this looks like a location out of a Disney movie, but it's not. It's actually an unusual suburb in the Danish capital of Copenhagen. The oval shape seen here result from an experiment carried out by a landscape designer in the last century. He wanted to see if he could make a village based on oval-shaped lands instead of the usual square ones. It all looks cool and good, however the problem is those whose houses aren't close to the street will have to park their car in the parking lot and walk through an unusual green maze to get to their home. You're not being fooled. This is actually a real song played with eggplants, pineapples and other vegetables. Surprising, right? Well, don't be surprised. This is a real musical instrument developed by the Russian startup Playtronica to prove that anything can be used to make music. This simply means that what you can use is not limited to just eggplants and fruits. You could also turn the human body into a synthesizer. You just connect the wires to anything that can conduct electricity, including plants, and jam away. Talking about turning food into art, people actually do it, literally. In fact, what you're looking at right here is called a spaghetti bridge contest organised worldwide, mostly by architectural departments. The contest's winner is determined by hanging a weight on the bridges made, and the spaghetti bridge that can withstand the most weight without crumbling wins the contest. So far, the world record stands at almost £1,000. That's impressive. We're only concerned about the amount of spaghetti that'll have to go into these contests every year. When you talk about the creepiest of the most creepy things, this creature will be up there. At first glance, you'd think they're spiders. But then you realise that they're even creepier than spiders. You may cringe at the thought of holding them or coming in contact with them because of the thought of the damage they could do to you. However, is it surprising if we tell you that some people actually keep them as pets? You don't have to be worried because whip spiders are virtually harmless. Unlike real spiders, they have no silk or poisonous glands. The worst they can do is pinch your fingers with their pedipalps. You should be able to handle that, right? The plant you see right here is a natural shampoo and a fragrant. It's called the Zingiber zerumbit and is commonly known as pinecone or shampoo ginger. It can be found in Asia, and the inhabitants of Polynesia have been using it as a natural shampoo for many centuries. Yeah, the botanical name is a mouthful, but as you can see, that's not the most interesting thing about it. You know the dilemma of placing an ad in one corner of the street, not knowing if enough people will see it or not? Well, it seems the advertisers are starting to take matters into their own hands with the help of drones. Do you too wonder why anyone will want to hang some gummies on tree branches? What could be the purpose that kind of person is trying to achieve? Well, sorry to disappoint you, in fact these are no gummies at all. They are non-poisonous edible golden jelly fungi that you can eat raw. Although they look palatable, we don't think you'd be impressed with the taste when you eat one. They literally taste like damp earth. Disappointing. Are you thinking what we're thinking? This is literally a road compactor, but why does it look more complicated than the roller ones we're used to seeing during road constructions? Do you also think this is the manufacturing of a certain kind of tape? Yeah, you're right, it is. However, this is not any kind of tape made out of fiberglass, plastic or such material. What you see here is red-hot metal in the process of folding into steel tape. This kind of tape is usually used for transporting large loads. They're also commonly used in the construction industry for roof manufacturing and fence installations. I'm sure you're as stunned as we are about the cuteness of these sea creatures. They are tadpole shrimps, and you can find them on all continents except Antarctica. This means that if you're as stunned as we think you are, you can actually add finding some of these creatures to your bucket list as long as you don't live in Antarctica. Talking about something stunning and beautiful, monarch butterflies are one of those things. Now imagine seeing billions of them gathered in one place. It's sure to be heaven. You can stop imagining though, because they actually gather somewhere in their billions in Mexico during winter. However, it's almost impossible to get close to them or capture the scene with a drone camera without disturbing them. To solve this, some brilliant minds came up with a drone camera shaped like a hummingbird in order to get close enough to capture the great scenery. Since monarch butterflies don't see hummingbirds as a threat, the idea really worked, which is why you see this beautiful footage. If you're wild, a big lover of bikes, and you find all the present bike designs on the market boring, then you should fix an appointment with this guy right here. You never know, he might just be able to help reconfigure your old bike and turn it into a ballistic missile. If you ask any gardener, they tell you trimming bushes' edges to an equal level or height can be a tricky chore. More reason they appreciate it if you introduce them to this machine right here. All you have to do is sit in it and watch it slice and make a perfectly edged bush. We can agree the ocean is filled with loads and loads of creepy creatures. However, even though it may look like something drawn out of someone's imagination, what you see right here is actually a symbiotic relationship between two sea creatures you've probably seen before, a crab and a sea urchin. It turns out crabs wear all sorts of things on their heads for disguise and protection from predators. No, this is not a bunch of googly eyes, it's actually a spawn of fish from the sculpin family. Still on weird things in the ocean, here is another one. It sure looks like a weaved artifact from somewhere in Asia, but what we have right here is actually a sea clam called a great keyhole or simply a limpet. Another interesting thing about this sea creature is that it has blue blood. We're sure people in medicine will be happy to hear this. If you've got a partner that loves piglets and you've been looking for a gift idea for Valentine's Day, you should probably consider this piglet-shaped lighter. I mean, what can be more fascinating and unforgettable than a piglet that breathes fiery hearts from the nostrils? If you think AirPods are boring and you'd rather have it vintage without having to go back to the analog days, you're in luck. The creator of this headphone for mobile phones might just have you in mind when creating this. You know, the mixture of old plus new. Grannies will definitely love this one. Is this a strange jacuzzi, water fountain, a portal to a new dimension, or just a simulation of an ocean vortex? It's actually none of those. This is an art installation by the contemporary artist Martin Worthman. His goal of creating this gigantic vortex engine is to reflect the transience of life and the infinite routine that haunts each of us every day. This thing can take up to 6,600 gallons of water and create a whirlpool at the rate of 265,000 gallons per hour. Despite all that, you can go through a hole to the middle of it and barely even get wet. Amazing. Talking about boring, some people like this guy here just can't live with ordinary things like most of us do. And we really appreciate it, because that's the reason the world is so advanced today. I mean, look at this. It looks way cooler than ordinary bicycles and definitely easier to ride. That's all for today, our dear viewers. Let us know down in the comments what you think of this list. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, like and share this video, subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so you can get new updates as we get them out. We'll see you next time.